Hey YouTube, vamos amigos. Happy Father's Day out there to all you fathers. It is Sunday, June 20th, and I'm your boy Duke. Brought to you by EliteFantasy.com, bringing you yet another Euro 2020 video for free on our YouTube page. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit those likes. I notice our likes are dropping down a little bit as we get further and further into the tournament. But how can you not like this video after I give you a plus 180 alt line winner over 3.5 in the Turkey-Switzerland game? And we learned something very important in this. Well, I didn't learn it. Maybe you learned it. Play the scenario. We're down to our last game of group play in the European Championship here. And we have 4 games to preview today, but we did hit a couple of winners from last night's video. Wales +1 was a push. They lose 1-0 versus Italy. But of course, we did talk about the under as well because of the scenario we were going into and some potential rotation from Italy, which we absolutely saw. We also had Switzerland winning big 3-1 over Turkey. We talked about that alt line over 3.5. Hit the over on 2.5. Hit the over on 3. Hit the over on 3.5 as well. So hopefully you guys made some money and had a good time doing it, just like your boy did. We were outside, man. As soon as the games were over, outside, hanging out with the family, having a good time, getting ready for tomorrow's slate. So let's talk about that. Of course, we are brought to you by EliteFantasy.com. Every single sport you can possibly imagine, but way down here under the More tab is our soccer articles, like we call it here in the U.S. Projections, articles, cheat sheets, podcast, and chat. Haven't been doing a ton of these because I'm just in the chat all day. I'm the human cheat sheet. So come find your boy Duke if you need some help playing some daily fantasy action. My article is up over on EliteFantasy.com. Computer's a little slow. I think it's actually the server that we're going to blame here, not my computer. Rusty, if you're watching this, I still love you, buddy. Let's see what we got shaken for the Monday 4-game slate. Oof. And there are our odds. Netherlands, monster favorite against the group bottom dwellers versus North Macedonia, the first team to be eliminated from group play. Ukraine, Austria, Finland, Belgium, another huge favorite there. And then, of course, Denmark v. Russia. Back in Copenhagen, first time they're having to travel a little bit. But let's look at where we stand right now. Belgium tops Group B. Russia, Finland, and Denmark all relatively in play. Odd scenario here where if Belgium beats Finland, which we think is going to happen, and Denmark beats Russia, we have Denmark beat Russia, but Finland beat Denmark, but Russia beat Finland. So then we go to goal differential. Interesting setup there. Denmark needs to win and score some goals just to hop over Russia here. And then how about Group C? By the way, Belgium should be good to go. We have a big future bet on them to top the group, playing bottom dwellers Finland here. We'll talk about that game in just 1 second. How about Group C? Netherlands has already clinched first place, having beat Ukraine and Austria already, playing North Macedonia. And then these two, tricky situation here where they get through with a draw, most likely, both on a 0 goal differential. They end up tying. They're both on 4 points. 4 points with a 0 goal differential is almost guaranteed to get you through. So we'll talk about how we want to approach that game. But let's start with Finland versus Belgium. I think we're going to see some rotation here, guys. We just saw it with Italy where they changed out 8 players from their first 11. I don't know that we'll see 8 changes from Belgium, but they certainly can. They have the depth to do it. We see Meunier getting a rest here with Nasser Chadli. Witsel, who got some minutes in the last game. Hazard, De Bruyne, who got some minutes in the last game. Maybe Roberto Martinez does say, hey, let's get some good minutes on your legs and get you guys out there from the start, get this game under control, then get you off even at halftime or maybe after 60 minutes. How much does getting them extra fitness weigh versus the risk of injury? That's what they have to consider, obviously. Finland, not a dirty team, but certainly a hard-nosed team who has to fight for every square inch. And look, Finland beat Denmark. Denmark literally had a guy die on the field. They brought Christian Eriksen back to life, thank God. But that's what it took for Finland to score their only goal of the tournament. Now, look, they scored a goal. It was called back. Punyapalo? My bad, man. I don't know how to say your name, but He's been their best player as far as getting on the end of crosses and being dangerous in the box. Perhaps he can upset this back three here. We did see Vertonghen start at the left center back role, which I thought was odd considering he came off early. Did not quite look for himself. I expect to see Vermaelen back there. Carrasco perhaps off the left wing. Maybe Benteke or even Batshuayi up top for Belgium. The point is, with a win, Belgium topped the group with 9 points. And regardless of who these 10 players are out here, it's going to be better than these 10 players out here. And let's just go back to that Denmark game for just 1 second, because I think we'll see a similar flow. Before Christian Eriksen had his incident, this is basically, it was even a little bit further up the field as far as where Denmark was. You see they almost outtouched them 2-1 here. If we go back to shots, everything, 22-1, 27-18 aerial duels, 9 corners to 0. This is a similar opponent. Kind of. Denmark's a far inferior team to Belgium. So even as a second team, I do expect them to have more possession. I expect them to create more chances. I expect them to have more shots, more corners, more everything. Just comes down to a matter of finishing. Give me the first half on Belgium, -113. Especially if they rotate the side a little bit. I expect these guys to come out firing just to prove their point to the manager. They deserve a spot in the squad. A bit like we saw with Italy today. But obviously we have a far inferior opponent here in Finland, even though Turkey was pretty damn bad, weren't they? Jeez, Louise. -113 is not a bad price to get access to a -272 favorite. We'll take him in the first half. Hope to get it done there. And then obviously if we see things going differently or better for us in the first half, we can hit it live as well for a second time. Now, how about another game in that group? Russia v. Denmark. Of course, Christian Eriksen's out of the hospital, thank God, but isn't going to be playing soccer for a little bit and maybe ever again. In steps Janssen, and then Damsgaard was unbelievable in the last match, and I expect him to keep his place here just as they do. And man, this is the first time Russia's having to play outside of Russia. Number one, it's a hell of a trip from St. Petersburg to Copenhagen. But as we go back to the standings here, with a draw, Russia gets through in second place, guaranteed entrance into the knockout stages there, because we assume Finland is going to lose. If they don't win, if they lose this match, they have to keep it close, because at that point, we talked about Denmark now jumping up to 3 points. Head-to-head-to-head's a total mess. We're going straight to goal differential. With these both on a -2 goal differential, they got to tie. They cannot lose this game. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in third place on 3 points with a more than -2 goal differential, which is not what you're looking for. So if we go to similar opponents, and we will break this down tactically here just a little bit, we see Russia has an ELO rating of about 1746. And of course, it's in flux, but in that 1700 range. So let's start looking at common opponents that Denmark has played in that 1700 range. Well, we just saw him play Belgium, who's a much better team, 2100 ELO rating. They were up 1-0 heading into the second half. KDB completely changed that game. Finland is around that range, completely dominating the game. Eriksen has his issue, and then they end up losing. We go here, 1755, Austria, World Cup qualifier, a game that matters. Denmark wins 4-0. How about we go up here? Okay, Belgium again, 4-2, competitive game. 1639, around that range. Denmark wins again, 1809. Denmark beats Sweden 2-0. 1661, Iceland, they beat them 3-0. And look, we're back into November 2019, but here's Ireland 1-1. The point is, when they play teams around that rating of Russia, they tend to come out on the positive side of things. Couple that with the fact that they have to win, and they have to win convincingly. We're hitting this a couple different ways, and that is Denmark to win at -132. I think that's okay juice to pay in this scenario. I also think it could be a little bit higher come game time as money comes in on Denmark and people realize what they need and the European market wakes up. Over 2.5 is also something I'm considering here at -105. You might be saying, well, Duke, all they got to do is win 1-0 here, basically, right? Because Finland's going to get crushed. Okay, maybe. But what if Russia scores first? Denmark's chasing the game. What if Denmark scores first and Russia's chasing the game? We have a scenario here where Russia, who could sit compact like this, correct? Like this is the Russian back three. They have their CDM, their two midfielders here, which they now have Moranchuk being pulled in here, Zuba up top, and their two wingbacks. What if this team is compact and, they're basically just playing. All of a sudden, this now becomes this. Because now they have to attack, right? And like maybe it's even a 4-3-5-2, something like this, right? Look at all this space this opens up if Russia has to attack. And so from the start, we're just taking Denmark to win. Live, if one of these teams scores, let's say in the first 15, 20 minutes, we're going to see a game that's a little bit more like this and less like this. Because this is a cluster. This is jamming up the middle to try to keep a 0. Just get your draw, finish second place, move on with your life. The second one of these teams scores, tactically, it's going to be completely different. Now, if Russia scores, the Denmark, who's represented here in red, isn't going to change too much. They already are likely to have their two up top with Braithwaite and Poulsen. Perhaps they can go with Poulsen as the point and Braithwaite and Damsgaard underneath. Miley's going forward. Voss is going forward. This is just attack with these five for sure, with Højbjerg and Delaney filling in here. So the 2.5 is a little sneaky one that I'm looking to possibly put in the bet pack from the start, but certainly from a live perspective, if we get an early goal, over is where I'm looking to hit there. This is the interesting game I talked to you guys about, because if they draw, both teams are on 4 points. Both teams are on 0 goal differential. And we just go up to this scenario here. If Denmark wins, these are all on 3 points. If these guys tie, they're both on 4. They're likely through to the next round. You might be thinking, well, then just take the tie. I think both teams go in with the understanding that they know what they need. They're fine. Like, hey, let's friendly handshake. We'll play a little bit, but let's not go too hard. Let's get the draw. Absolutely could be the chance. Number one, Austria's got to figure out what they're doing with this cat right here. Once again, Alaba was back at center of the back three. Absolutely useless. Once they got behind, they started to push him forward and try to chase the game. It was already too late. Baumgartner, what are we doing with him up front? This is likely to be Arnautovic if they're really going for it. And so we're going to wait for team news to put our official bet in the bet pack. If they come out like this, I'm taking a different route. Give me Ukraine, plus 274. Eastern Europeans are ruthless, man. Ukraine, man for man, is a more talented team going forward. We've seen the excellence of Yarmolenko now through 2 games. Milinovsky was the player of the game of the tournament of the year until he missed that penalty in the last match. Yaremchuk got on the score sheet. Shaparenko, Zinchenko, Stepanenko, these guys are controlling the midfield. Austria is a deadbeat team, man. I think they're super overrated and overhyped in this spot. And the fact that they can get through with the draw, to be honest, is just a result of North Macedonia, nothing more. So I like Ukraine here at a good number, plus 274 to get it done. This could be a situation even where it's kind of friendly in the first half. We get to halftime 0-0, and then they get in and go, you know what? Let's have a little bit of a go. Let's stay solid in the back, but let's have a little bit of a go here. And you look at come on. Minus 151 on under 2. We can't hit this total anywhere unless we're taking under 1.5. If we think this game ends 1-0, plus 137 is not a horrible number. I'm just going to take a stab on Ukraine here to get it done, which brings us to our final game of the day. Holland, the Netherlands versus North Macedonia, who is the first and only team, to my knowledge, to be eliminated as of the start of this game. I expect rotation. They're showing a little bit of rotation here. Luke de Jong up top. Davy Klaassen here in the middle. Wijnaldum then would be pushed back into a deeper midfield role. Wijndal finally getting a start. De Ligt, Timber, who's coming off the bench here to get a start here, giving a rest to Daley Blind. I would expect more rotation to this. Like I said, Netherlands has nothing to gain at this point. They've already won the group, having beat Ukraine and Austria. And certainly they have high hopes to work their way towards the final. So I would expect Depay to be rested, De Jong to be rested, De Vrij maybe, Dumfries if they have who are they going to put on the right side here if they had an option? If they don't, man, how about Netherlands -2.5? If this team is trotted out there, let's say we get Depay, Wijnaldum, Dumfries, and De Jong. If those four start, this could be a field day because this is a fine substitute for Weghorst. Clearly, Wijndal is a better player than Van Aanholt. I prefer Wijnaldum there, but honestly, this is where he plays for club. And we weren't getting a ton from De Roon there offensively. So this is almost a more attacking center midfield, and it should be because North Macedonia is a sieve. They might rotate. They'll give the start to the old men like Pandev and all that, but let's take a shot. +192. Netherlands -2.5. So we're going with some long odds here today, playing with some house money after the big +180 win over 3.5. Netherlands -2.5. Ukraine on the money line. I like Denmark -132. And if you want to get cheeky, take that over 2.5, -105. Because of the game flow, if one of these teams scores early. And last but not least, Belgium -113. So there you go. Bunch of bets for you to hammer out here on a Monday. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at DukeDFS. Unfortunately, my mouth wrote a check that hopefully my ass can cash. I'm going to be in a Waffle House, which is a breakfast restaurant here in the U.S. for 24 hours, starting at probably around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday morning. I'll be there all day trying to eat as many waffles as I can so I can get the heck out of there. Follow along. 4 awesome games, 2 different time slots. Hopefully we make some money and you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, throw a like on it. And if you haven't yet, make sure you hit the subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with more action here from Euro 2020. I'm Duke. Adios.